Now, across Texas, the issue is...
I'm Greg Groogan in Houston.
I'm Rudy Koski in Austin.
And I'm Stephen Dial in Dallas, and this is Texas, the issue is.
With Labor Day in the rearview mirror and a head-to-head confrontation on the debate stage bearing down, it's game time in a race for the White House, which could easily be decided by just a few 100,000 votes. And while those ballots won't be cast in the Lone Star State, that hasn't kept Texas politicians on both sides from hitting the stump hard in the battle over who best to lead the nation for the next 4 years. In the midst of a razor-close election, just days ahead of a potentially linchpin presidential debate, voices of persuasion are offering a prelude to the coming clash and the issues upon which the candidates hope to capitalize. Republican Congressman Wesley Hunt advocating ferociously for the former president.
And what we have seen for the past 4 years are open borders. We have watched our economy tank. We have seen hyperinflation, the most I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. We are on the verge of World War III if you're not paying attention to what's happening in the Middle East and what just happened with Israel. So we have a choice. Do we want 4 more years of this? Or do we want the Abraham Accords? Do we want no new wars? Do we want inflation back in order? Do we want people to be able to afford and buy a home again? And most importantly, do you want a sovereign southern border, the southern border that somebody like me fought in the military for? And the number one role of the federal government is to keep our citizens safe. We've had 11 million people that we know of enter our country illegally.
Democratic Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia contends working class families should count on Kamala Harris and not a billionaire with a track record of further enriching the wealthy.
Day one, she will work on building the middle class and lowering costs for all Americans, because she knows that people are hurting and that people do see the grocery prices and the gas prices still a little higher than they would. So she's going to work on all those issues.
And then there's the lightning rod issue of reproductive choice.
And she will not take us back to the old policies of the Donald Trump administration that separated children, that ridicule women, that will now try to control our bodies. Not only abortion, that's not the only thing on the table. It's also about contraception. The Supreme Court clearly said that they're going to be open to making other changes.
For Republican Congressman Randy Weber, the coming election is about preservation of a core American industry central to the nation's long-term security.
My District 14 has 7 ports. We produce a lot of energy, and for the Democrats to try to want to kill fossil fuels is pointless. And Donald Trump will get our energy back on track. We'll be energy independent, energy dominant. Listen, Greg, energy independence actually means energy security. It means national security. It means job security, family security. I could go right down the list.
Democrat Al Green is also about preservation, as in social safety nets, the so-called government entitlements he insists Harris would strengthen and Trump would tear down.
I believe she is best suited to protect some of the things that are important to the American people. Health care, for example. The other side would like to repeal and replace what they call Obamacare, which is the Affordable Care Act. Of course, you and I know that repealing is one thing and replacing another. They've never shown us the replacement, but they've made many efforts, more than 50 efforts to repeal. I think President Harris would be best suited to protect health care for all Americans.
58 days away from a momentous decision, and a single point of agreement remains. That is, neither side has anything close to a definitive edge in this battle for the White House. Okay, guys, my one-word description, messaging. Stephen, how about you?
Breaking the rules today, fourth quarter.
All right, Rudy, lay it on me.
You know, Greg, I was thinking about using the word whirlpool because we're getting more spin than a washing machine, but I think I'm just going to go with moonwalking.
All right, then, plenty more to unpack, so stick around. The Fox Texas Trio will be right back on the other side of this break. Welcome back. Illegal immigration, reproductive rights, inflation control, government health care, and the best path for bolstering a middle class strapped for cash and struggling mightily to stay afloat, much less get ahead. In the presidential sweepstakes, these are the issues of deepest concern for voters and deepest importance for the nominees as they walk on the stage Tuesday in Philadelphia. Rudy, this week, Kamala Harris gave what I'm calling her take from the rich and give to the middle class speech. And I know you're a big believer that economic well-being is the heftiest motivation come election time. What do you make of the vice president's pitch?
You know, Greg, there's been so much backtracking by Harris. It's like watching Michael Jackson moonwalk at one of his concerts, right? The reason for my word. She has gone from a staunch defender of Bidenomics, dismissing the inflation spike, to now admitting, hey, yeah, prices are too high. Woo, what a backtrack. But the backtracking only goes so far, apparently, because the Harris spin is to blame the high cost that everyone's feeling on corporate greed, and not the policies of the past 3 years. Now, Harris's economic plan also seems to be going through a lot of repackaging lately, a reboot after each rollout apparently getting shredded by analysts as either seriously flawed or just a case of bait and switch. Now, you got to admit, the tax credits for kids and home building, they are eye-catching and popular ideas and certainly sound familiar. They should. They're right out of the old GOP playbook. What I'm hearing is the tax breaks will most likely be part of a tax code rewrite that is coming in 2025, regardless of who wins in November. So the problem for Harris is the good ideas, they keep getting walked back by the other plans she has, like increasing taxes. Greg?
All right, Stephen, you heard Congressman Weber talk about Trump protecting and expanding America's oil patch as a proven path to prosperity and security. You've also heard Kamala Harris's recent flip-flop on her previous call to ban fracking. Question, do you think voters in 2024 care about stretch-run policy reversals like Trump's recent head-scratching contradictions on abortion?
Right. Both candidates have backtracked on some things. Now, in the grand scheme of things, will the electorate care? That's the biggest question, and that's what we'll have to wait and see in November. I honestly think, yes, people want policy, they want substance, they want to know what both of these candidates' plans are, but also a lot of people are making a decision based on who they want to lead this country, and both candidates are polar opposites on a host of issues and on their personality. And so will these policies matter? Will these flip-flops dissuade some people when they make their decision in a matter of days? Sure, but I don't think the vast majority of people will be making their decision based on if these candidates are saying one thing and then months later changing their tune.
All right, Rudy, under the category, be careful what you wish for, a close colleague pointed out this week that Republicans celebrated Biden dropping off the ticket, but have been flustered by their inability to inflict damage on Harris. Are we witnessing a classic case of miscalculation?
Yeah, I think you got that read right on there, Greg. The week before Biden's debate dropout, a lot of conservative pundits were starting to warn that a palace coup could happen, and it did. But at that time, it was thought that the replacement candidate would be someone like Gavin Newsom from California, or maybe we'd get a Hillary Clinton rerun, or even see Michelle Obama get drafted, get anointed as the one at the DNC. Now remember, Harris was considered to be somewhat of a political albatross and part of Biden's problem. And there was even a push in the party to replace her to save him. You know, what we're seeing is what I described a few weeks ago as a classic Wall Street PR crisis team marketing strategy, backtrack and redirect. The old Russian election interference card being played again. The word abortion, again, being replaced with reproduction. And Democrats are not talking about adding gender identity to women's sports. No, not talking about that. And the Trump team, well, they just can't figure out how to respond to all this.
All right, Stephen, we know how consequential these nationally televised debates can prove. What are the stakes come Tuesday night as the former prosecutor takes on the former president? About 30 seconds.
Right. I mean, everyone is going to be watching on Tuesday just to see the interactions between both candidates. We know mics will be muted, but that doesn't stop Donald Trump in the past. There are a lot of undecided voters in certain swing states, which is baffling to me, but I'll leave my personal thoughts aside. I think a lot of decisions will be made after Tuesday night.
All right, let's leave it there. You can see the interview or any of our past interviews by going to our YouTube pages.
You can also visit our social media sites to continue the conversation.
The presidential debate is next week, and the Fox Texas Trio will be back to discuss another hot button issue. Remember to let us know what you think the issue is.